Hello, hello, hello. It's Wednesday afternoon. It's about 1:30. Welcome to the sports show with no name. There's something strange, an orangish yellow thing glowing in the sky. I don't know if you can see it from your house, Ben, but I don't even know what that is. It's
Haven't
been raining.
looked.
It's just been raining, man. My family, I think we're going to build a boat. I don't think we have much of a choice. Can't mow my grass. The weather's crazy, but that's May. It is May. So
I saw
may
the
we entertain you for
I,
an hour?
I saw a thing on Instagram. It was like, I know why it's called May now, because it may snow, it may rain, it may be 80 degrees, or it may be 40 degrees.
Seriously, it's not. It's not a lie. Anyway, I'm your host, Chad Bryan. I've got Ben Bales with me as always. Ben, what's been going on, man? How you been?
Nothing much. Good.
Nice, 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 nice. Well, I don't know. I think we have a pretty good show for you today. I don't really have many headlines. We can get to. I know there was a trade in the NFL that affects you as a fan, Ben. We can get to that in a minute. But like I said, it's May. That means certain things like weather starts to change a little bit. It also apparently means the Cavs have gone full Cleveland sports. They're down 2 games to the Pacers, 2-0, in the second round. And speaking of two games, we're going to check in with our friends up north because they put themselves in the news again with something relating to 2 games. That's an interesting thing coming out of Ann Arbor. We'll get there, though. And we're going to talk a little baseball today. We haven't talked baseball in a couple weeks. Got to get back to baseball. We're going to talk a little bit about a couple of division races that I find interesting, I guess. And we'll do our way too early MVP and Cy Young picks, or at least, our favorites right now that, if the season ended today, these guys would probably be the guy. Oh, man. Let's do a quick headline. Like I said, there was a trade this morning
There
in the
was.
NFL. Strange one, Ben, involving your Steelers. Tell us about what happened.
We traded
Weird one.
George Pickens to the Cowboys for third round pick swaps. And I mean, I don't hate it.
Okay.
But at the same time, if you're Pittsburgh, apparently they knew this trade was going to happen before the draft, and you still don't draft a receiver.
Okay. What does that tell you, though? What does that tell you about their plans for this season?
Same plans they've had for the last 20 years to just be mediocre
Scrape by and somehow get to the first round of the playoffs?
and get absolutely obliterated. Yeah.
Listen, the Browns would take that. Any Browns fan, I think, would take scraping by,
Like I
going
said,
10-7, and
unless they're stocking up draft picks to either trade for another receiver or, like you said, trade up for a quarterback next year. But
yeah.
again, if you have a quarterback, you need somebody to throw to.
Yeah. Yeah. Unless you're not trying to win many games, unless you're trying to. I'm not saying that they're tanking, but I'm saying that their actions are a little cantankerous. I don't know, man. I don't really know what they're doing. It's a weird trade to me. I get kind of maybe just getting Pickens out of there. He seems like he's maybe kind of going the way of, certain receivers that we know have come out of Pittsburgh in the past that aren't necessarily the best guys to have in the locker room all the time, right? I don't know. I'm not there personally. I don't know the guy. I just know what I hear. I'm not going to, vilify him or anything on the show because I don't know him personally, but it just seems like maybe that's the way they're headed with that. I don't know. Let's just get on that. We got to talk about the Cavs, Ben. I don't know. Like I said in the intro, they've gone full Cleveland sports. They're dominant all year, right? Number 1 seed in the East. Almost set not a conference, almost set a franchise record in wins, right? And here they are. They're down 0-2 to the Pacers. This is a nightmare situation. No one's playing. Darius Garland's out. Evan Mobley's out. DeAndre Hunter's out. Who knows what's going to go? I don't know. Donovan Mitchell put 48 up last night, but he looked terrible. I mean, you could barely walk at the end of the game. You said it might have been cramping. I thought it might have been his calf strain. Well,
it was definitely his calf, but I think I think his calf was hurting, but I also think he was cramping at the same time.
Okay.
Because
I hope so.
Because of his conditioning.
Yeah.
But I'll say this, right? If we get to Indiana on Friday and we have those 3 guys and you walk away from game 3 healthy and you win that game, you got a real good shot of winning the series.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, they're still a great basketball team, but they're in trouble.
If those guys don't play and you go down 3-0 and then they play in game 4, I think the series is over no matter what. Yeah, I think you have to win game 3 to give yourself a chance.
I think so too. You can't go down 3-0.
No. And
we talked about how good the Pacers are at scoring in the fourth quarter, right? They did it again last night. Cavs were up 14 points going in the fourth quarter, and the Pacers completely eliminated that lead. I mean,
I'll just say this though: like I'm not one to call guys, like soft for sitting out and not playing because I mean, Chad, from playing at a college level, like injuries can affect your body in a way that, especially when you're playing at a high level,
Yep.
like Derek Scholar with a toe, with how much he changes his speeds and changes direction,
Yeah.
like that hurts.
Yeah.
Like it
If he was a
I,
4 or a 5, I'd expect him to be out there maybe with
yeah,
the toe, right? But
yeah.
yeah, I get it. I understand.
And with Evan Mobley, with how much he's around the rim, blocking shots and he's landed on people, I
Yeah.
understand the ankle, but at the same
Mhm.
time, game 3 is almost a must-win game for Cleveland.
Yeah.
Like you can't, like you said, you can't afford to go down 3-0.
No.
If you get all these guys, even if you get 2 of these guys back, right? Even if you get Hunter and Mobley back,
Yeah.
right? Like I think you're fine, right?
I
But
think that makes you significantly better. Yeah.
yeah, but at the same time though, I think the Cavs need Darius Garland if you're going to win this series because teams are just honing in on Mitchell, and then when Mitchell's on the bench, teams are honing in on Ty Jerome. We saw it last night.
Yeah. And Mitchell still put up 48 last night, by the
Yeah,
way.
but
Great effort
Mitchell
by
also
him.
has to. It's inexcusable. The Cavs shot 23.2% from 3 in game 1
Hmm.
and 27.2% in game 2. That is
At their home,
inexcusable. You are
at
not
their own
going to win a
place.
playoff series.
At their own place.
Yeah, you're
It's an
not going to win
acceptable.
a
It
playoff
doesn't.
series doing that.
No.
Like you're not going to. I'm sorry.
No, you're not. You're not, especially against a team like the Pacers that
Yeah,
can fill it up, and we know how good like I said, we know how good they are at scoring in the
yeah.
fourth quarter. I mean,
You
they
might win.
turn it on late.
You might win one game, but you're not going to win 2.
No, not with all your
Like,
guys out like
like,
that.
dude, the Timberwolves are 12 for their last 47 from
Right,
threes.
right,
That's worse than the Cavs, and they won a game with that.
right. Well, you got to play some defense, and I think that's where having Mobley out in the middle. I mean, how many uncontested layups did the Pacers get in that fourth quarter? I mean, it was
Yep,
like it was hard to watch.
it was.
And I'm not saying that guys were just standing there watching them go by, but man, it certainly appeared like guys were standing there and watching them go by. Like it just seemed like
Yeah,
nobody wanted to challenge a shot. I get you don't want them to score with with no time coming off the clock. They were up 7, first of all, with what 47 seconds left,
yeah.
up 119, 112, and lost the game 120 to 119. I mean, that's inexcusable. That can't
It is.
happen.
It's
I don't care who's out. You still got NBA players on the floor.
and
I
I will say this though, the officiating last night was better, and I'm
yeah,
not one to bash referees and stuff like that, but when it cost teams games, that's where I draw the line, right? That
yeah,
I don't know
tough
if
in
you
the
saw
playoffs.
that. I
Yeah,
don't know if you saw that dunk by Naismith, the one he had off the Halliburton missed free throw.
yeah, I saw it.
Players outside the arc are not allowed to leave, or not allowed to come into the paint or into the arc until the ball leaves the shooter's hand.
Yeah,
Neesmith was in front of Siakam before the ball even left his hand.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how do you miss that?
I don't
Like,
know. That's because you know what? When they reviewed the play, that's not what they were reviewing, and
which is
I can't
stupid.
stand that. I can't stand that because the review on the play was whether or not the ball was inside the cylinder, right? Whether
Yeah,
it was going to be, yeah.
and the whole rule of you can't challenge because you don't have a timeout, right?
Mhm.
I get it that you need a timeout to challenge, right? I think it's
They needed
stupid.
that timeout down the stretch too bad, didn't they?
They did, but hear me out. I think you need to change this challenge rule, right, to where if you have a challenge, you can use it. But if you don't have a timeout and you use the challenge and you lose it, the other team gets a technical free throw.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that would be fine. That makes
Because
sense.
because
Yeah.
I think if the Cavs challenge that play, right, and just
Yeah.
challenge it, just consensus, I think it gets overturned to a lane violation.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I just think it's stupid that you have these referees that are supposed to be, the best in the NBA because it's playoff basketball, and you
Yeah.
can't get a call right that gets called in high school basketball. I saw that call happen in high school basketball more times in the last 2 years than I have in the NBA.
Yeah. I think a lot of stuff gets let go in the NBA because nobody wants. Well, I'm saying that nobody wants a game to hinge on a call like that, but then the game hinged on a non-call like that. So it went the other way.
Exactly.
I don't know. It's a hard.
No, and I like I don't care if it's the first quarter with
Mm.
11:30 left and that happens. Okay, so
Yeah.
be it. Like I don't care.
But
But
somebody's always going to go back and go, "Hey, that one play. Look at this one missed call that cost us this game." You know what I mean? Like it's always going to be that.
yeah, but I at that point I just tell them like you had 3 more quarters to win the game at that
Yeah.
point. But when it's
Okay.
the fourth quarter and it happens in a big situation, in a big moment,
Yeah.
and the Cavs also sent that play in and they said there should have been an offensive foul because the guy had his arm around Mitchell's neck.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a little weird. But I thought at the same time he was just sort of landing as well. Like it wasn't really. He's got to have a place to land, and I thought like that was more for balance. I didn't think he was trying to take Donovan Mitchell out by any means. I saw some people say
I
that.
don't either, but
Yeah.
like you don't got to wrap your arm around his neck.
You do weird things when you're up in the air and you're coming down. There's
No,
no clear place to land. You know what I mean?
I agree, but all I'm saying is that the Cavs sent it in, and the NBA said there should have been some sort of foul.
Okay, that's
So
fair. Well, if the NBA says it, then I'm not going to argue. I mean, they're right.
I
I'm
mean,
clearly
but
not
no,
right.
but I agree. Like when you're in the air and you're coming down and you're lost and don't know really where you are, you just
Yeah,
you try to find anything to grab onto or like brace
sure.
yourself.
Even if it's moving too, like you're like, okay,
Yeah,
we're
but
going down together, man. Yeah,
I don't know. It just like I said, I'm not one to blame the cat. I'm not one to blame referees. Cavs had a stretch where they didn't score a field goal for 4 minutes.
yeah. I think you can blame the Cavs. I think that's
But
fair.
but at the same time, like if Donovan Mitchell hits 2 threes, you win that game.
Yeah,
Like literally, if Donovan Mitchell hits one more three, you win that game.
yeah.
You win that game
If anybody
122 to 120.
anybody connects on one more bucket throughout the entire course of that game, it doesn't end that way. It doesn't end with Tyrese Halliburton, and his dad wanted to get in somebody's face, but he's not allowed at the game. So,
I don't know. I mean, again, if you're the Cavs players that are hurt, you got to play game 3. It's almost a must win.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be tough, with Garland with the toe, and like you said, Mobley with the ankle. I think if anybody can play, it's gonna be DeAndre Hunter with the thumb, right? I think.
I do too,
Hopefully, you get the swelling down.
But at the same time, though, I think with DeAndre Hunter, I think that's like I said, Curry's playing through the same injury.
Yeah.
Like,
well, you could argue that Steph Curry means a little bit more. Not that DeAndre Hunter is not an important part of this team, but you could argue that Steph Curry is more probably important to his team.
Don't get me wrong, I agree, right? But when
yeah.
the best shooter in the world's playing with the same injury on his shooting hand,
yeah,
and he's able to manage,
yeah.
Like, and look at what Donovan Mitchell did, right? Yeah, but like look what Donovan Mitchell did. I'm not saying DeAndre Hunter has to go out there and shoot threes, right?
Yeah.
Dude, you're 6'8" with a 7-foot wingspan.
Yeah.
Take it inside and shoot the midi.
And just be a presence on defense. Like they need some help on defense. They need to they need some physical bodies like the Pacers. I mean, they were pretty physical last night. They did a better job than in game 1. But I also think you're right in the fact and saying that I think that wore them out a little bit at the end.
Yeah, and I keep telling people this, and people keep telling me I'm crazy, right? Like, I said I think you should play Tristan Thompson, not because he'll help you win the series, not because he'll provide you that spark you need off the bench, but just his physicality. Like he's going to go in there and bang bodies with people, and he's not going to be afraid to get a hard foul or lay someone out.
Right.
Every single Pacers player is doing it.
Yeah.
Every single Pacers player is doing it.
Yeah. Okay. And speaking of laying people out, did you think Nesmith tried to sell that elbow from Mitchell a little bit at the end?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I think it's a foul. I think it's definitely a foul.
It's a foul, but it's not a flagrant because it's a basketball move.
Right. Exactly. He didn't extend his elbow. He didn't extend his arms.
Yeah.
He kept it. I thought he kept it tight. I think that's the rule. I think that as long as you don't extend out to try to initiate the contact. But I thought Nesmith stuck his face in there pretty far too.
No, he did, and I just think.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Trying to,
for sure, get the foul,
yeah.
I just think that some of these things that are reviewable, I just think they should be like the way that they can get reviewed. I think should just needs to be changed. Like you said, like if you're making a basketball move and you hit somebody in the face, like they didn't do it on purpose. Like, yeah, I get that should be a foul, but it should every single time it should be reviewed for a flagrant unless it's blatantly obvious.
For a minute, buddy. Are you back?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, we just lost you for a second there. That's okay.
Yeah, but I lost you for a second. I was confused.
Gotcha. Somebody's Wi-Fi quit for 1 second there.
Yeah, but I just think that I think the obvious calls like that, just you don't need to take time to review them. Like if it's one where you're not sure, okay, go ahead and review it.
Yeah.
But when he's doing a basketball move and he's just bringing the ball over and his elbow hits the guy in the face, it's not like he's winding. It's not like he takes his hand off the ball and goes, "Hey, I'm just gonna elbow this dude in the face."
Right.
Like,
I mean, sometimes that does enter your mind though. You get frustrated. And it's like, okay, I want this guy out of my grill. Like I'm going to do whatever I can.
Yeah,
here's what I don't like. Here's what I don't like, but I also understand when you're reviewing, like when you talked about the Nesmith dunk on the lane violation or whatever, possible lane violation, not the non-called lane violation.
Yeah.
I don't think that you can have officials looking at a replay and scanning the whole screen looking for other infractions. But like you said, when something is so obvious that, okay, we're reviewing the, offensive interference, right? But then you see that Neesmith is clearly in the lane early. Maybe that, like I said, I get you call for a review. You don't want officials to go, well, we actually missed like 5 things in the course of, you know what I mean? You don't want that.
Yeah.
But something that's so obvious, I don't
I
like
just
it.
think
You
I
should be
think
able to
it's
look
the
at that.
I think it's the whole thing of officials have too big of an ego to admit that they were wrong.
Sometimes that's the case. Although I don't know if you saw, I can't remember who the baseball umpire was. Someone challenged a tag play at the plate, and the guy got it wrong, and they caught him on a live on a
Yeah,
hot
yeah,
mic, kind of
same
cussing
F
himself
word,
out,
yeah.
swearing himself a little bit because he missed the call.
Yeah. But
I
but
appreciate that kind of accountability.
I do too,
You
but
can't get every call right.
yeah, but like you said though, like going back to what I said about not having a, t- a challenge, right? Like I
Mhm.
think if like I think if you think there's a possible like violation or foul,
Yeah,
right, you should be able to challenge it, and if
yeah,
you lose it, it's a technical free throw, and the
that's on you,
Pacers get
right?
the ball right back.
Right. That's worse in my mind than losing a timeout.
Yeah,
So I
because then the
wonder why they
Pacers
don't
get a
do that.
technical and the ball back.
I think maybe
Because
maybe the reason for doing that, Ben, is maybe they don't want 20 challenges down the stretch. You know
you
what I
don't have
mean?
to have
Like,
20 challenges. That's the thing. You get 2 challenges, right?
well, but just
No, here's the
piled
thing.
up down the stretch. I don't want that. I don't know.
Here's the thing. You don't have to change it. You don't have to change the challenge rules. I'm just saying, like, if it
Okay.
comes down to the Cavs situation where Cavs don't have a timeout, but they have a challenge left, like Cavs should be
Okay.
able to challenge. If they lose it,
Yeah. You're right.
then the other team gets a technical free throw and they get the ball back.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe, but right now, like you said, the Pacers are still just scoring
Yeah,
uncontested
Cavs
layups
just gotta
right
find.
down
You
the
gotta
middle.
find a way to win Game 3. You have to.
Somebody's got to be a
Plain
body
and
in the
simple.
middle defensively. If Mobley's not going to be there, it's got to be Jared Allen. Somebody's got to find a way to clog up the middle a little bit and not let Tyrese Halliburton do whatever he wants in the lane. I
And
mean, that
I
was
will say this, and
wild last night.
I, Chad, I sent you the clip of it earlier with Dean Wade last week.
Mhm.
The Cavs have got
Yeah.
to stop switching screens. You have to. Teams are
Mhm.
starting to realize that the Cavs switch everything, and you're getting Tyrese Halliburton onto Jared Allen in the
Yeah.
clutch. The Cavs have to stop switching.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
I will take Ty Jerome on Tyrese Halliburton every day of the week, but Tyrese
Yep.
Halliburton on Jared Allen is a mismatch. I don't care how tall Jared Allen is. Tyrese Halliburton's looking to get to the cup and he's looking to draw a foul.
Yeah.
That's what killed you against Boston in the regular season. It's what killed
Mhm.
you against OKC in the regular season.
Yeah. And it's killing him right now.
Yeah. The Cavs have to stop switching. Like,
Yeah.
like Kenny Atkinson is a great coach. He's
Yep.
just too stubborn to not switch everything. I get most teams want to switch everything because it's easier and you don't got to fighting through the screen.
Yeah.
But
And I wonder if fatigue plays a part in that too. I mean, what we're talking about, like I'm
he's
thinking
doing
like
it
a
all
lot of
game
the
though.
plays
He's
down
doing it
the
in the first
stretch.
quarter.
Oh yeah. Right. But
Like,
right.
but like you said, yes, fatigue could play a part. But when you're doing it the whole game,
Mhm.
like you're literally putting yourself at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
Like I get if Mobley's out there because Mobley can defend on the perimeter.
Well,
But
and they're
Jared,
already at a disadvantage with Mobley, Garland, and
yeah,
Hunter out. I mean, yeah, it's they're at enough
but
of a
but
disadvantage.
Jared Allen's not a great perimeter defender. He never has been.
No, you don't want him out there on.
Mobley's a little quicker than Jared Allen. Like I
For
get if he switches onto him, but again, if those switches are going to come,
Mhm.
put your better defenders in those spots so they don't get switched on. Like DeAndre Hunter should be at the top, right? Max Strus, he's not a great defender, but he's scrappy. He
Yeah,
should be at the top. Sam Merrill's
he's a
not a great
hustler.
defender, but
Yeah,
he's
he's a
scrappy.
hustler.
He
Yeah,
should be at the top.
yeah,
Like you shouldn't be having your centers in this pick and roll that just get switched onto a guard every single time. It's killed you in all of your losses.
yeah.
Teams just abuse that, and I don't know if Kenny Atkinson doesn't see it or what, but like it's killing you when fans are recognizing it. Somebody has to be recognizing it with the Cavs. Somebody.
Right. I'm sure someone sees it, and I'm sure they've got some quality control people that are looking at it. I'm sure it's not just Kenny Atkinson out there just watching pieces of film over and over again, agonizing, pulling his
It
hair
just
out.
irritates me.
Oh, I get it. Well, I don't want to irritate you anymore. I mean, Friday night's game 3. Listen, if they don't win Friday night,
It's over.
you can pack the suitcases, start loading the bus. They're done. They might not even make it out of Indiana if they don't.
If you
win
don't play
Friday
Game
night.
3, there's no point in playing Donovan Mitchell or any of those 4 in Game 4. There's no point. If Mitchell's truly hurt, there's no point in playing him if you're down 3-0.
If it's a calf strain and oh my gosh, and he's out now too. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to think about that. Let's knock on wood. I don't want to knock too loudly because you'll hear
There's
that.
no practice today, so hopefully these guys get an extra day of rest and get some treatment and be back ready for Friday.
I'm sure they'll be in the training room. I'm sure guys are getting, iced up and whatever treatments come with, sprained ankles and, sprained toes and dislocated thumbs and whatever else, calf strains, whatever else is going on. I'm sure they're getting treated for it. But yeah, so 7:30 tip Friday night from Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The Cavs are going to be fighting for their playoff lives after dominating the East all regular season. So we'll try to catch that game and hopefully it'll go a little better. I want to move on. We got to move on. We got to talk about our friends in Ann Arbor, Ben. I
mean, I wouldn't call them friends, but
well, I'm trying to be diplomatic here. It's just a really strange chapter in the Michigan sign stealing investigation, as if there weren't enough strange bizarreness, right, going on. Michigan has the whole time they've they've committed to the defense. We've done nothing wrong. We didn't do anything wrong. Didn't do anything wrong. Now suddenly, I don't know if you've heard of any timelines of any decisions coming from the NCAA, but a lot of people are saying early June, summer, right? Suddenly Michigan has decided to suspend Sharon Moore for 2 games. So games 1 and 2, right? Nope. Apparently Sharon Moore pulled up to the suspension drive-through and said, let me get a number 3 and a number 4. Weeks 3 and 4, they're suspending him. So Central Michigan and I don't remember who the first Big Ten game, maybe Maryland. I don't even know. It doesn't matter. Who cares? It's really weird. I will gain a small amount of respect if Sharon Moore shows up to the Central Michigan game on the sidelines in disguise. I think that would be a fantastic throwback.
I just don't know how much more Michigan can do that proves that they're guilty.
And now I don't know if you saw their university president's leaving for Florida. I don't know what's going on in Ann Arbor. It doesn't look good.
If Michigan doesn't get the death penalty, I'm convinced that they paid. I'm convinced that they paid the NCAA.
I don't know if they'll get the death penalty or not, but here's what I know. The NCAA, the only other time they've handed out the death penalty was the SMU. We know that. And one of the things that they used was the repetitive problems, right? It kept the same issues were popping up with SMU. The same things keep popping up with Michigan. It's this pattern of I don't know, not just violating NCAA rules, but then going into a bunker about it, right? Not cooperating. Everyone they give them the cold shoulder. They go completely stone them out, right? There's no answers. There's no.
Yep.
They just haven't answered for their actions. They haven't taken any accountability. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, they suspend Sharon Moore for 2 random games in the middle of the season. I found that really bizarre. It's just a really strange optic.
Why do they get to pick what games they Why do they get to pick what games?
It's a self. They self-imposed it, so I guess they can pick whatever games. But I would just think that, okay, if he's suspended, it's the next 2 games, right? What do you pick week 7 and week 12? How'd you decide Central Michigan in the first Big Ten? It's just weird. It's really strange.
At this point, I think they should get a board together of every single who's ever in charge of president of each school, and they should just let the schools decide what Michigan's punishment is at this point.
That'd be brutal. A lot of people are really upset with Michigan. Michigan seems to be the only program that's just unbothered by this.
Because Michigan thinks they didn't do anything wrong.
I really believe
the Astros.
Yeah. I thought it was fans. I thought it was just Michigan fans on social media that were being kind of arrogant and I don't know, just completely no one pays attention to the facts of the case, right? Ohio State lost an entire season because of tattoos, okay? And people scream, well, there's the cover-up. There's the cover-up. Fine. Okay, great. There was a cover-up. I don't know. I mean, Jim Tressel did what he did. We're not going to argue that. I can't. The facts are the facts, right? I mean, the case is out there. We know what happened. But didn't Michigan do the exact same thing when pressed? I mean, Jim Harbaugh just he tucked his tail and ran.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't answer questions appropriately from any NCAA investigators. I mean,
he still won't answer questions about it.
Well, he doesn't have to. Now he's gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's not an NCAA. I just it's a really strange optic to suspend Sharon Moore for 2 random games middle of the season. I think it's weird. It just feels like a desperate attempt to try to save face with the NCAA. But maybe it's because I'm an Ohio State fan, but I feel like if I were a board member or board of regents, whatever it is, whoever decides this stuff for the NCAA, I feel like this would offend me a little bit. right? Like
Yeah.
right before we come to you with a decision on it's already been this weird like back and forth with Michigan not admitting to this. They won't whatever. Now you suspend your head coach for 2 random games. And it just feels I don't know. To use a word that I see, it just feels a little scummy, right? Like it feels a
Mhm.
little snake oil salesman-y, right? Like it's just like
It's I don't like I said, like I don't usually argue with people over social media, but
yeah.
I saw this dude post something about the Astros and not cheating, and I said, dude, I was like, it's literally been proven, like they were literally proven guilty for cheating. Like
Yeah.
Jose Altuve, like literally basically admitted to wearing a buzzer to know what pitch was coming, and he goes, no, he didn't. He never said that.
Ah,
Like,
yeah.
like,
Selective memory is great when you're a fan, I
like,
guess.
it's just mind blowing that people can constantly cheat
Mhm.
or cheat and be proven guilty, and to say, no, we didn't do it. We weren't guilty. It wasn't us.
I know. And it happens at every level. It's like you even see it at co-ed softball. People, teams cheat. They, shaved and rolled bats or whatever else, whatever goes on. But speaking of the Astros, and going back to I think finding the parallel between Houston and what Michigan did. They're obviously different sports, completely different ideas, but both activities were clearly cheating. I would have had just a lot more respect for Houston if they had said, "Hey, look, man, we get paid a lot of money. There's a lot of people's jobs at stake. We wanted to win and we took it too far."
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I would have had a lot of respect for
Me too.
anybody in that organization. Um, I respect Dusty Baker for walking in there after that.
I
By the way,
That's exactly what I told my dad. I said I respect the heck out of Dusty Baker
I
for
mean,
taking that job,
yeah,
and winning a World Series with them, because you knew when Dusty Baker took over, you knew none of those shenanigans were going to happen.
yeah, and I respect whoever takes Sharon Moore's place after he gets a 5,000 year show cause penalty from the NCAA. But maybe not 5,000 years, but
But
I expect something heavy to come down
I
from the
just
NCAA.
did you see speaking of that, did you see the Connor Stallions podcast that he was on?
No, no.
He was on a podcast the other day, and he was
I
still
watched the
claiming
Netflix special with him, and I have a hard time just even listening to him talk. I
he
don't.
he was still trying to claim that what he did was in the rules of NCAA,
I believe he thinks that.
and the people that he was on a podcast with, I don't know if they believed him or not, but like they were laughing when he said it, because like I know they're Michigan fans because they're Dave
Oh,
Portnoy's friends,
yeah, okay.
but they're
He's
not
such a
Michigan fans.
reasonable guy too.
Yeah, no, but they're not Michigan fans though. That's the thing.
Oh, they're
I think
not. I
one
thought
of
you said okay,
I think one of them's a Texas fan,
okay.
and I forget who the other one is, but I don't know if they
No,
believed him or not, because they were laughing when he said that, and he's like, "No, I'm serious," and then they got all serious too, and it's
I don't know.
like how are you gonna keep going out nationally and saying like, "Oh, what I did was legal," dude? You literally went on a disguise on a sidelines with a camera and filmed,
Bizarre.
like how delusional do you have to be?
I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that he did at the root of it that it is not against the rules. Like keeping the whatever he had that whole catalog of signs and signals or whatever. That's fine.
That's fine. Yeah,
That's fine. And then when you stand on a team's sidelines, right, and you watch the other team and you pick up on certain things, then fine. I mean, yeah, you've stolen the signs. That's great. That's perfectly legal. Just like in baseball, you get a guy on second base, you can see what the catcher's calling. He's
speaking of
yelling
that,
out first name, last name, whatever. That's perfectly
yeah,
legal,
did
right?
you see talking about baseball doing that? Did you see the San Francisco Giants guy did that?
No, I didn't see it.
He
I
was
didn't see
sitting on second base,
it.
and you could visibly see him going like this every time the pitcher would comes out with his grip. He'd go
Yeah,
peeking, and then if it's a fastball, he'd go like this. If it's an off-speed pitch, he'd like kind of like adjust his helmet.
yeah,
And
yeah.
like you said, like you got people watching for that. So like you can't tell me that there wasn't someone on the sideline in that Central Michigan game that's like, I don't know who this guy is. Like he doesn't work for us.
Did no one bother to think like, yeah, I mean, and who's checking credentials? Like, or did he have credentials? I mean, I know he was there. I don't know. It's a
It,
weird. It's
I just think
weird, Ben. It's
I,
weird.
I think
It's
I
weird.
guess the way I want to say
It's
this
weird.
is like if you're gonna cheat in professional sports and you get caught and you're gonna publicly deny it over and over and over, like you're gonna have like nobody's ever gonna respect you ever again.
Right.
But
Right.
like you said, if the Astros would have came out and said, "Look, like we cheated, yeah, like we did it, it was just
Yeah.
something that we wanted to get ahead of the game, and then okay, yeah, like I'll have some respect for you. But
then they feel like, see, what's more important apparently is not tarnishing the legacy. Like that's why Tom Brady never, admitted to the whole ball deflating thing.
yeah,
Who knows if he did it or not? I have no idea. It seems like they know he did. And again, that's another situation where if he had said, "Hey, look, man, it's pretty cold,"
now I want to
I
say
mean,
this though.
sometimes I just like to have a better grip on the ball. Okay.
I want to say this though.
Hmm.
If the Houston Nationals said, yeah, yeah, we cheated, is their punishment worse, or do they not get as much?
I don't know. To me, being a parent, I think I like just admit it, right?
Yep.
Accountability. Just take responsibility for what you did, and then we can work through it. No big deal.
Yep.
But the denial almost makes me want the punishment to be worse, right? Like you can't double down on the lie. Don't double down on the lie. Don't do that. You got caught, right? Like admit it and just say, like I said, hey, look, man, there's a lot of people, scouts, front office people, a lot of people's jobs are on the line, right? I think about like families, kids, whatever. We really wanted to win for these people. Tug at the heartstrings a little bit. Well, say what you have to say, but just admit it. Take responsibility. Just again, show accountability for what you've done and say, hey, we took it too far. We wanted to win for all these people. We really wanted to bring a ring back to Houston. We love the fans. We took it too far.
Yeah.
We apologize. I'm sorry.
I saw somebody say that the NCAA should ban Michigan or ban Michigan players from signing NIL deals.
Okay.
And I was like,
what, 5 years maybe or whatever? Okay.
Yeah, and I was like,
that's the modern day equivalent of the scholarship limitations, right?
Yeah, I mean, because
who cares if you don't get a scholarship? Oh, well, we lost 12 scholarships. Whatever, we'll get 12 NIL deals. Who cares?
Yeah,
right?
But how many? And I sat there and thought about it, and I was like, like you said, a lot of these guys pay for college through, their NIL deals. I mean, obviously they get a scholarship, but they're able to make a living.
And listen, and by the way, next week's show is going to be a lot of fun. I hope that we are able to line up the guests that we want to line up next week, because I want to talk about NIL. And it might be an hour-long discussion. I think there's a lot to get into and a lot to unpack. And there's just a lot of layers to this. It's like the NIL.
I won't go into NIL now, but yeah.
I know. I don't want to get into it too much. But
how about this? I'll bring up that again next week. That same topic, and we'll talk about that next week as well.
Well, listen, I think it's just going to be all NIL. I think we're going to focus on NIL. As long as we can get we have a couple of guests lined up for the moment that I'm really excited about. As long as we can get them on the show, I'd really, really like to get their perspective on NIL. I don't know. I just my view is changing on it a little bit, but we'll talk about that next week. That's going to be a fun show next week. If we can get that lined up, that's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Even if we get one of them, we're hoping to get the other one on soon after that, and maybe it might be another NIL episode, but
sure, yeah, we can part two it. We can part two it. There's always a sequel. This thing's it's changing so much. It's like it's not static. So yeah, it's very, or it is static, I guess. But not static. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's changing, so we want to get into that. I want to talk about that. I think like I said, my view has changed a little bit. I'll just tease kind of my point of view. I still believe in NIL, but I think it needs to be regulated quite a bit.
I agree
in a lot of different ways,
dude. So, I still wish we had that original argument though. That was
I'm sure we have it somewhere. I bet somebody has that somewhere on a old recorded file somewhere.
Yeah, that was gold.
That was a pretty good one. That was a long one too. We went on that for like 45 minutes. See, that could have been a whole episode. Oh man, so Michigan, I don't know what's going to happen with Sherman. What's your? I know you said death penalty. I don't know if that's going to happen, but what's your kind of like? Where's your gut at? Like, what do you think the punishment's going to be when the NCAA says, "Here it is"?
I think it's got to be something with like scholarships or something along those lines, and maybe a huge fine.
Oh, did you take a bowl ban or no? I mean, postseason ban.
I mean, I think you have to bowl. I think you have to bowl ban them. I think you have to.
Okay. Yeah.
But I just don't. One more thing before we move on from cheating is like when teams and stuff like that get fined all this money, that doesn't affect them.
No,
especially with how much money. Like I just saw a stat: the Big Ten this year as a conference brought in $197 million. And you think about your Ohio States and your Michigans, right? They're solely making like probably 10, 20, 30 million a football season.
They're printing money. I mean,
but
you have to remember too that the university as a whole takes a loss. Because the other sports cost so much to put on. They're not bringing as much in as the football team. I don't know.
Yeah, but if you fine them $100,000, they're going to make that back in one sporting event
in 15 minutes.
I mean,
honestly, like that's not a big deal. I do. I think it needs to be some kind of mixture of a scholarship limitation, maybe like
Whole
you said, maybe
band.
an NIL limitation. I think that's a good idea.
But then what do
Because
you do
you're
for the
just going to
players
replace
that?
the scholarships with NIL money. It's not going
Yeah,
to.
but then I guess I guess like the opposite side of that is like, what do you do with the players on the team that currently have an NIL deal? Do you take it away from them?
Well, they're grandfathered in,
True.
but
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they also garnered those NIL deals during a period of when the program was cheating. So I don't know. I'm not really sure. That's a good
Yeah.
question. That's where it gets murky, right? That's why it's hard to hand down a punishment when you've got so many people involved in a program that, now don't have anything to do with it. I mean, think about the new recruits. I mean, Bryce Underwood has nothing to do with the Michigan cheating scandal. A lot of people like to lump him in and make it seem like he's a bad guy for going there. I mean, it's his dream school. What are you going to do? Like, it didn't matter, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if he'll leave though if the punishment is severe enough.
I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of guys leave.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. Well, we'll see what happens. Like I said, we'll touch on that. Well, there's a lot to unpack there. We'll touch on the NIL stuff next week with our guests.
And
But I do want to revisit this in the summer again. Whenever these punishments come down,
for
we're
sure.
obviously we're dedicating the whole episode to
And I
what's
just want
going
to say
on.
this. That's what it is. If you guys haven't watched the Condo Stallions documentary on it, please go watch it. Please. It's a good watch. Even if you hate him, it's a good watch. I told Chad I wasn't going to watch it. I ended up watching it. But I want to ask you this, Chad. If Michigan,
it's a good look into a very obsessive personality, though.
It is.
I think it's
if Michigan gets this, like if Michigan gets a big ban, you remember in the show when he said he wasn't going to snitch?
Yeah.
If they get this ban, do you think he snitches?
I don't know. He's such a wild card. He's such a strange guy.
I feel like with his personality, he could.
He's just such a strange guy, Ben. I don't know what he's going to do. I mean, I really don't. I have no idea.
Yeah,
it's hard to tell.
We can move on though. Like you said, we'll talk about this when the ban comes out. Hopefully, it's soon.
Of course. Yeah, I think I've heard either early summer or early June. I'm not sure. I don't have anything in front of me, but yeah, one of those two. It'll be it's a few weeks away. We'll find out soon, right? We'll definitely touch on that when that happens. We'll get back into that. But let's talk baseball. We haven't talked baseball. Playoffs. We haven't talked baseball in a couple weeks, man. We haven't done that in a while. But things have been happening. Things things that I thought would be a little more shaken out by now aren't quite shaken out yet. Certain players are still red hot. Some surprising teams are still near the top of their divisions. I had thought the Rangers would have a few more wins than they have right now, but they're sitting at third place in their division behind, of all teams, Ben, in the AL West. The Athletics are in second place. The Athletics, just the Athletics. What a weird situation they're in right now. I hate that for the city of Oakland, by the way. I hate that they're losing the A's. They just lost the Raiders. You know what I mean? And it hurts.
Yeah.
I get it. Las Vegas is like, whatever. You want to call it the mecca of sports because of gambling now. It's legal everywhere. I don't know that that's a good thing.
Yeah.
No, nothing against Las Vegas. But, man, Oakland's just one of those historic franchises, man. I mean, you think about Reggie Jackson and, like, Jose Canseco, Mark McGwire, Ricky Henderson, Dave Stewart, like Carney Lansford. I think about all the Oakland teams through the years. And it's sad that they're losing
you think about that.
Lost.
Like you said, you think about that Oakland team that, faced the Reds that one year and were projected to beat the Reds, and the Reds swept them 4-0. Like, you look at the talent on that A's team, and like they had a bunch of Hall of Famers.
Oh, they were so good. Walt Weiss, Carney Lansford. I mean, they were really, really, really good.
Yeah. Hey, while we're on the topic of baseball,
guys, what's that?
8-run, 6th inning for the Gardos.
Ooh, okay.
Up 8-3.
Okay. Today? Right now?
Yeah.
Right now. That's live.
Yeah, right now.
Live. There you go.
8-run, 6th inning.
That's breaking news. Man, they've
Dude,
been
even with how even with how ugly their wins have been, or with how ugly they've been playing, I should say.
Yeah.
They have the third best record in the American League.
They're 21-15. I mean, they're a game and a half behind the Tigers. I still feel like the Tigers are going to fall. I don't think it looks like Drake Screwball's for real. I keep every time I say his name, I feel like I'm saying Trick Screwball. It's weird, but yeah, I think he's for real. I think he's going to be a perennial Cy Young contender. I think the Tigers are pretty good, but I still think they're going to fall off in that division. I'm surprised the Royals have hung in as long as they have.
Yeah,
that's been surprising a little bit. Not enough to bring it up on the show today, but I thought it was weird. But yeah, the Guardians are 21-15, hoping to go 22-15 after today. Sounds like that's a big inning.
Like I told my dad, I said, the Guardians are 21-15, right? If you can maintain this pace up until June, July, when you get Shane Bieber back, when you get Trevor Stephan back, right? You add a huge bullpen arm to that bullpen that's been inconsistent this year,
a little bit.
and you add back your former
Starting
Cy
with
Young
Clase,
winning.
the guy at the very end.
Yeah, but then you add, your former Cy Young winning pitcher and Shane Bieber back to that rotation.
Yep.
Like, if this team can start hitting,
seems like it would help stabilize things. What's going on with Tristan McKenzie? Do we know?
he got he right now he's back in the minors,
Right.
and they think that his whole issue is all mechanics. They think it's all mechanics, and I think it's mental.
He also has a torn UCL. I mean,
but his velo's up this year though. That's the thing.
That's weird.
Like his velo's up to 93.
He must really be made of rubber. That's really weird. That's really a strange thing.
Like he was touching 96.
Yeah, with a torn UCL. That's amazing. It can't help him. I just can't believe he didn't get this fixed. I can't believe it's going on this long.
If he got it fixed, Tristan McKenzie would be back to his old self and he'd be pitching in the big leagues. Because that dude was almost unhittable.
Yeah, when he had his good stuff, man. I mean, Sticks was wild, man. He was really, really hard to hit. His fastball up in the zone, sometimes
it almost like it was like a rise ball in softball. It seemed like it just kept rising.
That's what I was going to. Sometimes you watch on TV and you're like, I could hit that. I would every time he threw a fastball at the top of the zone, I'm like, that looks impossible to put a bat on.
Yeah.
I can't explain it. It's just the angle. But like you said, it almost looks like it's taken off.
And then he'd start that curveball at the top of the zone. You're like, okay, it's a fastball. And then last second, a dip. And you're like,
yep.
Where'd that come from?
Right. Yeah. He was really, really good. I hope he gets back to that. I don't know.
I will say this, though. The fact that we're 21-15 and we don't have an elite starter this year.
Yeah.
Like it scares me. But at the same time, like,
I think the pitching gets better when it gets warmer. I think everybody knows that, like, if you've ever pitched, like, you know that it's just easier to get loose when it's warm. It's easier to stay loose when it's warm. Your arm just feels more live when it's warm. When it's kind of hot and humid, you get tired, but your arm feels live. For that 5 or 6 innings that you can last.
Yeah,
it just feels better. I think that's going to help them too. I always say the warm weather is like the cure all for baseball. Like, if you've got a team that's not really hitting well, like, wait till it gets warm, and then if they don't hit when it's warm, then you've got nothing, right? Like, but you'll find out when things start to warm up. You'll know what you have.
And I think that's what, like, I saw a stat. It had Luis Castillo and it had John Lester. I'm like, okay. I was like, they didn't really pitch against each other. What's this stat about? And it said, John Lester, born in Seattle, Washington. Luis Castillo, born in Dominican Republic. And it said John Lester, ERA in 32-degree weather, 2.37. Luis Castillo ERA, 30-degree weather, 7.5. And it went down and listed, like all these weathers. Luis Castillo, when it got to 90 degrees, he was at like a 1.7. And John Lester was at like a 5.6. And you're like,
there you go. John Lester's used to the cold, rainy, you know what I mean? Yeah. It
and
makes it different.
I was like, I never really thought about it that way. Like, you got these guys who are used to pitching in the cold.
Yeah.
And you got all these guys from the Dominican Republic who are used to pitching in the warmth, and they get in the cold and they're like, oh my gosh, what is this? Like,
it makes a difference. Hey, do you remember back in the regular season, or before the regular season started, we thought the NL East was going to be the division to watch, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what's going on in the NL West? You've got 3 teams right now that are within a game and a half of each other. I mean, 20-plus wins for the Dodgers, Giants, and Padres. I can tell you, I can say one thing about the NL West. It's not going to be the Rockies.
You don't think so?
I don't think they're going to win that division, Ben. I think they've dug themselves a pretty Rocky Mountain-sized hole. I don't think they're coming back from that.
I think the Rockies think it's golf.
Okay.
The team with the worst record is the best. I think that's what they thought.
The White Sox got a lot of press last year. Maybe that's the thing they're going for. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe they're trying to think, if we get attention, maybe we'll get some money.
No, okay, so I heard something this week for the Dodgers, and 8 years ago, this would have been a huge deal. Clayton Kershaw, right? He's making rehab starts. He actually threw a 6-inning no-hit rehab start, kind of a rehab start. Okay, I mean, it was against the Reds, Arizona Complex League, whatever, fine. A bunch of rookie ball level guys that they haven't really been, whatever. They haven't been tested. It's fine. I get it. Still 6. Listen, 6 no-hit innings is still impressive. I don't care where you throw it.
Yeah.
Does Clayton Kershaw make an impact on this Dodger team anymore? Is he kind of past? I mean, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree?
He can stay, I would agree he's the first ballot Hall of Famer.
Struggles in October, but I mean, that aside, I think he's the first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
If he can stay healthy, this team just too deep now. Is there?
No, I think if he can stay healthy, I think he definitely impacts this team.
Okay.
I just think he has to stay healthy.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think that it can be one of those things, where he pitches for 1 week, gets hurt, is out for 2, then comes back, pitches for 3, out for
Yeah.
4. I just don't think he can. It's kind of like Trout. When Trout's playing, the Angels are playing better baseball. When he's not, they suck.
Sure. Yeah. And when he's up and down, it's tough. It's tough to get anything going anyway in baseball. Kershaw can be activated as soon as May 17th. So about 10 days from now. Well, 10 days. Exactly 10 days from now. So I don't know if that's going to help the Dodgers pull away from the Padres and the Giants or not. My other question to you is, can the Giants and Padres sustain? I mean, the Padres started off hot, sweeping the Braves. But everybody was sweeping the Braves to start the season. That's not.
I think the Padres can keep it up because they got good pitching. They got some hitters.
What about the Giants? Remember, the Giants almost signed Aaron Judge a couple years ago.
They did. They also almost signed Carlos Correa too.
Right. I mean, they're right there. Like, they've got the money, they've got the resources. They just they haven't quite made that big free agent splash, but they're winning a lot of games right now. They look really good.
They are. I don't like. I think that division could be kind of like the AL Central last year. I think those 3 teams could all make the playoffs.
Okay.
But there's we saw the Dodgers signing all these players in the offseason. I mean, I sent you a message, Chad. They signed that 9-man rotation that we thought they were going to roll out with all those starters, and you're like, okay, like nobody's beating the Dodgers. Then they started but
everybody's injured. I mean, yeah.
Then they started 8-0 or something like that, and you're like, okay, Dodgers are winning the World Series. Yeah. Now they've kind of come back down to earth, and you're like, okay, they're beatable. They
haven't played well. Yeah.
No, like they're definitely beatable.
Yeah. Did you see the throw from Mookie Betts a couple nights ago? From the right field corner to I don't know who he threw
right field again.
Yeah,
I thought he's playing shortstop.
He was in right field. Yeah, he made a throw from the right field corner to third base, and it was unbelievable. Just unbelievable. But anyway, I don't know what's going on with Mookie Betts. He's feeling better physically,
which is good.
That's great. Like
you said, I mean, I read a report, that he was gaining weight, which is in a baseball season, it's 162 games long, and you're constantly on the road. That's hard to do.
It sure
is. Because you're not eating. You're not eating as many calories as you normally can. You're not eating big meals. You're, a lot of times, it's a plate of food in the clubhouse after the game or before the game.
Yep.
And the fact that he's able to put on some weight is impressive.
Yeah, I'm just glad. But that made me nervous for a while. I'm not gonna lie. That was a weird illness, and it's like, man, you hope something more serious isn't going on. And it seems that he's on the other side of that. That's great. But I don't know, what other divisions can we talk about? The AL East, I don't know. The Yankees look pretty good. They're really, really good when Max Fried pitches. They're 7-0 when Max Fried pitches. They're not so great when they're 12-14 on everybody else's stats.
Dude, what is going on with the Orioles?
I don't know.
Are they broken?
A lot of this young talent just didn't quite pan out and come together the way I think they thought it was going to come together, right?
Yeah.
It takes time for certain guys. That there's no.
Yeah, I saw a post on what was it, TikTok, and it was a post about Jackson Holiday, and how he struggled, and then Matt Holliday told him, he used to have his bat up like this. Matt Holliday told him to flatten his bat.
Yeah,
and just that small little change. After that, he's hitting 333 with 4 homers in his
Baseball's last a crazy sport, man.
In his last 10 games, and the guy's like, if you're the Orioles hitting coach, what do you do? Do you get mad at Matt Holliday, or do you kind of just suck it up and be like, okay, he's a Hall of Famer?
Well, Jim Knowles left the Buckeyes for a reason like that, right? He felt like he got his toes stepped on a little bit, and he left the organization. So who knows? I don't know.
No, but I don't know. Like you said, I think if those young guys for their Orioles can start producing like they were last year, I think that Orioles team is still going to be really, really good.
Yeah, they've still got a great future.
I think their biggest issue is pitching.
Yeah, the present. Yeah, Kevin Gausman was really good last year. I don't know how he's doing this year.
He's on the Blue Jays.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know if that would have helped at all. I don't know if I just don't know. I don't. They've got a weird. Well, they tried to sign Charlie Morton.
Yeah,
that hasn't gone well.
You got rid of Corbin Burns though. He's your best pitcher.
It looks like the Braves knew something about Charlie Morton that maybe he and the Orioles didn't know about himself. Which is unfortunate. Charlie's a great guy. It's just not going well.
Orioles just need to find that Jesse Chavez pitcher that only pitches good for them.
Well, and the Braves have picked him up now for the 3rd time this season. So it's what a saga, man. What a weird story that is. It's a cool thing. One day, Ben, there's going to be a 30 for 30, or there's going to be a Netflix documentary about Jesse Chavez to the Braves.
Hey, he might get picked up 30 times by the Braves, and they can call it 30 for 30, getting picked up by the Braves.
What a story, right? I would not rule that out.
And it'll show all 30 times he got picked up by the Braves and how long he was there for.
Amazing. Let's do a thing. I'm done talking about the divisions. We know about all the division races. I don't think the Athletics are going to be.
Wait, they're actually racing. Who's winning right now?
Oh, nobody's winning because nobody wins a race. Yeah, it's just everyone. Races are running's terrible. Don't run. It's awful. It makes you cough and breathe hard and almost throw up. Don't do that. I'm kidding. But let's do a thing where I don't know. Who was your way too early in the beginning of May MVP and Cy Young Award winners for the AL? Let's start in the AL. We'll start with the Cy Young Award winner in the AL. If the season ended today, or if you could project forward, I think it's pretty obvious. But who's your Cy Young guy right now in the AL?
Shane Bieber. I'm kidding.
Okay, fair enough. You can be a homer. It's okay.
No, I think the Braves sweep it. I think Aaron Judge gets the AL MVP, and I think
the Braves. Or,
I mean, not the Braves, the Yankees.
Is your level of hate for the Braves so much that you lump them in with the Yankees now?
No, I was just thinking about the Braves because when I think of Max Fried, I think of Max Fried on the Braves.
Fair, that's fair.
I mean, but no, I think the Yankees sweep it. I think Judge gets AL MVP, and I think Fried gets AL Cy Young. I mean, Judge is hitting .412 with a .503 on base percentage. And he's slugging 772, and his OPS is over 1,200.
Right.
Like,
you want to comment? Hello to you. I just wanted to say hello. I wanted to acknowledge that you said hello. Thanks for watching. Appreciate that.
A guy like Aaron Judge that hits for that much power should not be hitting .412.
Yeah, it's but listen, in the knock, you know what the knock is going to be, right? They're going to say we'll do it in October, right? Make it happen when it counts.
Yeah.
Who knows? But maybe this is the year he does that. I mean,
I've told people this. I said I think Aaron Judge he's finally convinced. For the longest time, people ask me who's the best hitter of our generation.
Yeah.
I used to always say Mike Trout.
Okay.
For the longest time, it was Mike Trout.
Okay.
And I think after seeing the run Aaron Judge has been on these last couple of years, I think he's finally convinced me that Aaron Judge is the greatest hitter of our generation, of my generation.
Just crazy individual numbers. I mean, yeah. And I know the playoffs haven't gone well, but I mean, the baseball season is still 162 games long. You can't completely discount what happens in the regular season. Yeah, he's had some amazing individual numbers. Yeah, I think if the season ended today, and obviously if these two guys keep up the pace that they're on, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Aaron Judge win the MVP and Max Fried win the Cy Young Award in the AL at all. I mean, Judge just leads the league in so many different categories. It's ridiculous. He's hitting .412, like you said, 12 home runs, 34 RBIs, which ties them with Pete Alonso and Hernandez for the MLB lead. But yeah, in the AL, he's by far ahead. He also leads Major League Baseball with 56 hits, by the way. He's got 56 hits. OPS is 1275. That leads Major League Baseball. I think we talked about it at the beginning, or maybe I said it to you off the show. I think I said it to you off the show. He leads the league in batting average of runners in scoring position. It's over 500. Yes. It's just ridiculous. He's having a fun year. I'm sure he's having a lot of fun right now. The National League, I think, is a little bit murkier than that. Don't you?
It is. I think there's a couple guys that could win it. I think Cy Young, if he keeps up the way he's been, I think it's Yamamoto for the Dodgers. Dude has a below 1 ERA right now.
Unreal. Yeah. He's got losses for the Dodgers as well. Under 1. So maybe all the money in the world doesn't really win you all the games in the world in baseball, right?
Yeah. I just think that hitting's a little different because, like, you know, Pete Alonso's having a good year, but then, like, you know, you just look at. I mean, I think it's gonna be Pete Alonso, but like you said, I mean, Brendan Donovan for the Cardinals.
Well, especially if the Mets win the NL East, right, and make some noise in the playoffs. I mean, you know, to get into the playoffs, I think he for sure wins the MVP.
And nowadays, MVP is no longer about, you know, oh, you know, he might have hit for a higher average, but this guy, you know, had more home runs and more RBIs. Like, like for me,
you're going to notice Alonso more because I know the Mets signed Soto or whatever, but now it's like Alonso's is kind of leading the charge and putting that team on his shoulders. Soto hasn't been great yet.
No.
I don't think it's a wasted signing. I think a lot of people are maybe jumping the gun a little bit too early on that. Let Juan Soto cook, man. I mean, he'll put up numbers, right? He's a numbers guy. He'll put good numbers.
I'm all about looking at people talking about advanced stats all the time, right? Like your OBP plus and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I still think someone's average on base slugging and OPS tells a lot about them as a hitter.
For sure.
Like, I don't think you need to get, you know, into those advanced stats. Like, yeah, they're good to look at.
They're fun sometimes, yeah, but I think sometimes they can be a little too much.
Like, if you look at it, right, like, Pete Alonso is the only guy Pete Alonso is one of only 2 guys in the National League with over a 1,000 OPS.
Yeah. It's
Like
him and
him and
Shohei.
Shohei.
That's it.
And like you said, Shohei's kind of having a pedestrian year, but I mean, he's got more homers than Pete. He's only at 15 RBIs though.
How good is Shohei Ohtani, by the way? He's having a quiet, like we don't think about it. His OPS is still 1,000. It's over 1,000.
Dude, but he's not driving in runs though.
No, he's not. But that's also
Isn't he hitting leadoff this year though?
I don't know where he's hitting in the Dodgers lineup. All I know, I don't know that. I know Chris Taylor's way down too, and I know having Chris Taylor active at the bottom of that lineup helped kind of flip things over. And Taylor's not having a good year. Taylor looks like he might be. I don't know, man. He doesn't look like the guy that he was kind of scary for me when the Braves were playing the Dodgers every year in the playoffs. It's always the big guys, right? Like, Mookie Betts, all the guys like Max Muncy would kill you if you left a pitch out over the plate or whatever. But Chris Taylor was the guy to me that was just like that gamer in the playoffs. Like he's really tough, right? It's really, really tough October at bats. He doesn't look good at all.
To answer my question from earlier, Jacob Wilson does have walks. He's finally walked. He has 6 walks this year.
Okay.
Also,
he plays for the Athletics, by the way. Jacob Wilson, I mentioned that to Ben off the show. He is the quickest in baseball history, for what it's worth, to 3 walk-off hits. And I think he's hitting like 412 with runners in scoring position. He's 4th in baseball right now for the Athletics. So big reason they've put up a bunch of wins. Big reason they're still hanging in the AL West. I don't know that they're going to sustain that. I don't know that he's going to continue to have that kind of year. But if he does, it'd be great. If the Athletics could slide into the playoffs, that'd be fantastic. It would just be too bad that it would be 1 year after they left Oakland. That would be very sad for me.
Yeah, but he's hitting 341, has a 368 on base percentage. But I mean, that's kind of flaunted, because he wasn't walking a lot, but he has 47 hits.
Okay.
Like he's tied for third in the American League in hits.
That's a ton of hits. I mean, Judge is leading Major League Baseball 56 right now. That's good.
So I mean, like I said, I look at that stuff and I'm big on base percentage because I'm a huge fan of Santana and stuff like that. Like,
I mean, things can't really go wrong if you got a bunch of guys getting on base.
Yeah, no, it's like I'm big in like the whole Moneyball thing, right? Like,
yeah,
like oh hey, why'd we sign this guy? Because he gets on base.
Yeah, right.
But like if you're in a lineup that has some power bats, right, and you get guys on base in front of them, like they're going to drive in some runs. Like Jose, that's why he has so many RBIs every year because Kwan's getting on base.
Yeah,
you got all these guys at the top of the order that are getting on base.
Kwan's near the top in a lot of categories too. If you look at statistical categories and hitting in the AL, he's there too.
Yeah,
after a little bit of a slower start,
he is, but I mean his average is back up to 350.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's doing great.
But
it's warming up.
I just want to say, so is Daniel Schneemann.
Yeah,
I don't know if you saw his last 10 games, he's hitting like 370 with like 4 homers and.
Yeah, that grand slam against Toronto was big. That was huge.
Hey, all I'm saying is he started using the torpedo bat and he went on this run. I'm not saying it's cheating, but I'm saying you got to take a look at these torpedo bats.
It's probably not cheating, but it seems like a little bit of an advantage to the guys who know how to barrel a ball up, right? Like it seems like a little bit of an advantage. Or at least the guys who are consistently barreling the ball up in the same place on the barrel. Or on the bat, right?
Like I told him, I said, if you gave Aaron Judge a torpedo bat, dude would hit 70 homers because the amount of barrels he hits.
Maybe.
Same with Jose. Like you give a guy like Jose.
But I feel like Aaron Judge is a feel hitter, right? Like I said, sometimes when you're that big, like hitting is all about feel. And I think that might throw off his feel a little bit, right? Like
no, but
it's weird as a hitter. You don't want to use a different bat. If you're on a hot streak, you don't want to touch a different bat.
No, but I guess like if you think about it, though, like if you think about the guys that are like near the top of the league in exit velocity, but they don't have a high batting average, you give one of those guys a torpedo bat, I guarantee you they're hitting 400.
Oh yeah, it probably helps. I'm sure it doesn't hurt.
Like Nolan Jones for the Guardians. If he started using a torpedo bat, I guarantee you he'd be hitting 300 this year.
It's a guarantee from Ben. Okay.
He's 5th in the major league in exit velocity, and he's got a 112 batting average.
Somebody hook him up with Victus. Give him a torpedo bat. Let's go. Let's do this thing. Let's find out. Hey, listen, it's been almost time. We got to get out of here, Ben. It's almost an hour already. One thing before we go, I want to say this real quick. Card block breakers, right? Remember I told you guys last week about the whatnot break, right? We're gonna do it again. Andrew, our buddy that was on the show a couple weeks ago, card block breakers on whatnot. Please, take a look Friday night. You don't even have to be in there live to be part of this. He switched we were doing a choose to pick one or whatever. Now you can just go in and buy your team ahead of time. Teams are starting as low as $20 right now. I think the available teams are as low as $20 for that break. against Topps Cosmic Chrome. There's a bunch of different stuff. There's a couple of mystery signed jerseys. So if you pull a team and that jersey comes out of the box and that's your team, then that's your jerseys. That's a pretty cool thing. And there's a whole list of guys that, I don't have that list in front of me of who the possible guys are that could be on those jerseys. But I mean, that's a huge thing, right? Like, a signed jersey is awesome. So please do me a favor, Friday night, and before Friday night, you can go to Whatnot, search Card Block Breakers. It's all one word. Search it; it'll come up, and you can kind of look through what teams are available. You can pick your team. You can buy into that, and we're gonna try it again Friday night with Andrew. And I've already bought a few teams. I'm excited to get in on it, and take a look and see what happens. So please, if you're watching the show or if you're hearing this between now and then, head over to Whatnot and just search Card Block Breakers. And if you want to buy into a break, a fun kind of a thing, low stress, it's not, you don't have to do anything, right? Just watch somebody else open packs of cards. Do that. I would suggest doing that because, like I said, 2 mystery signed jerseys is absolutely huge. It's going to be giving away a couple packs of Optic. Everybody wants Optic football right now, right? Like, that's a huge thing. It's hard to find. So it's going to have a few packs, whatever. There's always giveaways. It's a fun chat. Just go check them out for me, please. Ben and I hopefully will be there. I know I'll be there. Hopefully Ben will be there. And hopefully we'll see you too. And, if you can say, hey, what's going on with the sports show with no name? Are they in here? We'll answer. We'll have it.
Yep,
we'll get
for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then next week, like I said, if we can get our 2 guests that we have lined up at the moment, we're going to talk NIL. It might be an all NIL show. If we do it right, maybe we'll secure NIL deals from the show. We don't know. That's all I got. Ben, you have anything in closing?
Not really. No, just obviously, comment, interact with us, social medias, it helps us grow, share this with your friends. I mean, help us grow.
Word of mouth is huge. Tell everybody if you watch the show, you like us. If you don't like us, still tell everybody, because maybe you can talk about how goofy we are. I don't know. I don't care. Just watch the show. That's all we want. Just want you to watch and like and share our things and help us grow and help us bring you a better product. Again, next week is going to be hopefully the NIL episode. And maybe next week the Braves will be back over 500. They're flirting with it. They're getting there. We'll see. Disastrous start. But again, guys, thanks for watching. We appreciate it so much. This has been the Sports Show with No Name. I'm your host. I'm Chad Bryan. With me, as always, was Ben Bales. We will see you guys next week. Hopefully it stops raining because I'm tired of rain. See you guys next week.